All right, brothers and sisters, before we get started, we're going to have the reading of the law as we always do. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 12, chapter 20, and then we're going to Ecclesiastes 12 and Revelations chapter 22. After that, we will jump right into today's lesson. So we're going to Exodus 20, and we're going to start at verse 1. Exodus 20 and verse 1, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon their children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Thank you, brother. Let's go to our next place. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We'll be reading the last two verses. Go ahead and read them.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
And our last place is Revelations chapter 22. We're going to read verses 14 and 15. Go ahead and read them, brother.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Thank you, my brother, for reading those. And we always do this each Sabbath day because keeping the commandments of God is your foundation and key to salvation. Okay. So I want to start by saying to everyone here in Pittsburgh, California, good morning. And welcome home here to Israel of God Bible Study Class, where we teach the Bible by subject and title. Reading for us today is Brother Michael. My name is Brother James. And brothers and sisters, today's lesson is titled In the Last Days. In the last days. And this is something that we've heard all of our lives. You know, we've heard, oh, the Lord is coming back soon. We're living in the last days. And then we'll hear people say, yeah, they've been saying that for hundreds of years. It hasn't happened and it's not happening. We hear that. And then we hear people say, the Lord can come back any day. Okay? We hear all kinds of different things. But today we're going to do some reading, okay? And we're going to start today's lesson in Amos chapter 5. We're going to start in the 5th chapter of Amos because this God that we serve, he gave us signs, he gave us warnings, and he gave us instructions. So first of all, he cannot come back on any day. Certain things must happen first. So He's letting you know that when he does come, right before that, there's going to be some times of trouble. And he even told you how to get out of his way. So I like this God. So let's start. Amos 5. And start at verse 18. Amos 5 and pick it up at verse 18, brother. Go ahead and read it.
Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
To what end is it for you?
Yes.
The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
So first of all, he starts off by saying, woe to the people that are longing for this day to come. Because he said, to what end is it for you? First and foremost. Then the second thing is it's going to be a day of trouble, a day of darkness and not light. Go ahead and read, brother.
Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light?
That was verse 20?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read that 19 first.
As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him.
Yes.
Went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him.
Go ahead.
Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light? Even very dark and no brightness in it?
See, the day of the Lord is going to be a dark and gloomy day. So none of us should be wishing for that day. We should be focusing on getting our house in order before that day comes. But let's go into Isaiah chapter 55. Because as I said earlier, a lot of people will say, well, we've been hearing that for hundreds of years. Where is the Lord? You know, my parents' generation and my grandparents' generation have been saying he's coming back and we're in the last days. So where is he, is what they say. So let's go here. Isaiah 55, we're going to pick it up at verse 10. Isaiah 55, verse 10. Go ahead and read it, brother.
For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater.
Go ahead.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth.
Yes.
It shall not return unto me void.
So the Lord say, whatever his word says that go forth out of his mouth, it will not return to him void. Go ahead and read.
But it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
So if he's saying he's coming back, then he's coming back. But he's going to show us some other things here. So now let's go into 2 Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy 3. 2 Timothy 3. And then we are going to start at verse 1. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1. Because we should be focusing on getting ourselves together for when this day shows up and arrives. Go ahead and read it, brother.
This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come.
He said in the last days perilous times are going to come. Go ahead and read.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy.
Go ahead.
Without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
See, we are in, y'all can see this stuff, some of this stuff right now today. Just look around. Go ahead and read, brother.
Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
And we see that all day, every day. People are concerned with pleasure more than serving their God. Go ahead, brother.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such, turn away.
So look, if you run into these people, it said turn away from people like that. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power of God, okay? So skip on down, my brother. Hit that verse 14. What did it say?
But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
So look, so that is what we all should do. Continue in the things that you have learned. So now let's go hit 2 Peter chapter 3. And again, today's lesson is titled, In the Last Days. And we are going to show you today that we are definitely in the very last of the days, okay? 2 Peter chapter 3, my brother, pick it up at verse 3. 2 Peter 3 and 3. Go ahead and read it.
Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers.
Who?
Scoffers.
So scoffers are going to come in the last day. Go ahead.
Walking after their own lusts. And saying, where is the promise of his coming?
Go ahead.
For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
Because that's what they're going to say. It's like, where is it? Because since our fathers have died, everything is still the same. Everything is continuing just like it has been. Go ahead and read, brother.
For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water.
Go ahead.
Whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished.
Yes.
But the heavens and the earth which are now, by the same word are kept in store.
He said by that same word of creating this world, that by the same word is kept in store. Go ahead, brother.
Reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
Go ahead.
But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing.
He said, don't be ignorant of this one thing. Go ahead.
That one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
Yes.
The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness.
Because the scoffers will count it slackness.
That's right.
The Lord is not slack. He's going to do everything he said he's going to do. Go ahead and read.
But is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance.
Go ahead, brother.
But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
Yes.
The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
So look, so we see here, Peter said the Lord is going to come back like a thief in the night. And if you're not ready for it, you're in trouble. Skip down, hit that verse 14, brother.
Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace,
yes,
without spot and blameless.
He said, when the Lord come back, you want to be found in peace, without spot and blameless. So let's go to Mark chapter 13. That's how you want to be found. But you just can't wake up and be found like that. You have to work on that. You have to put some energy into that on purpose.
Right.
Mark chapter 13, and let's see what Jesus has to say right here. We're going to start in verse 24. Mark 13 and 24. Mark chapter 13. Again, the title is In the Last Days, okay? Mark 13 and verse 24. Go ahead and read it.
But in those days after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light.
See, we haven't really went into the tribulation yet in this lesson, but he has moved to the point after that event happens. But go ahead, brother.
And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory.
It said, and after this tribulation, then you're going to see Jesus split them clouds, okay? Skip down to 29 and continue.
So ye in like manner, when ye shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors.
Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done.
See, the generation that's going to see all of these signs, they're going to be the same generation to see the Lord open them clouds up, okay? Go ahead and read, brother.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
Go ahead.
But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father.
See, no man know exactly when that day is. Not even the angels. Go ahead and read.
Take ye heed.
So that's why, since you don't know when that day is, and you don't know when you're going to draw your last breath, take ye heed. Go ahead, brother.
Watch and pray.
Watch and pray. Go ahead.
For you know not when the time is.
Go ahead.
For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work.
Go ahead.
And commanded the porter to watch. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning.
They say, take heed, so you don't know when he's coming back. Go ahead.
Lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping.
Lest he show up and catch you sleeping, unprepared. Go ahead, brother.
And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch.
And that's that word right there, watch. Pray and watch. So now let's go into 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And today we have you should have gotten a picture of two different images when you came in today. So we're going to get to those shortly, okay? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 3. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, brother. Go ahead and read.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first.
Yes.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
So look, he's saying that day can't come until the man of sin is revealed and until there's a falling away first. And that man of sin is also called the son of perdition. That means the son of destruction. Okay, go ahead and read, brother.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he is God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
So you got this man of sin. He's going to sit in the temple like he's God, is going to call himself God, and going to magnify himself above gods. Okay, what verse was that, brother? 4?
End of verse 4.
Go ahead and read.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?
Skip on down to 8 and continue.
And then shall that wicked be revealed,
yes,
whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Now this person, whoever he is, when the Lord split the clouds, he's going to destroy this guy upon entering this atmosphere. Okay, he's one of the two that's going to be destroyed on the spot.
That's right.
But we'll show you who that is later on in the lesson. Go ahead and read.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
His coming is after who?
The working of Satan.
So whoever this man of sin is, Satan gave this guy his power. And we're going to read that later. Go ahead and read.
With all power and signs and lying wonders.
Yes.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish.
Why?
Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Because see, you got the people that love the lies. We have co-workers, family members, and friends that love the lies and hate the truth. Hate it so much they don't even want to talk to you anymore. And you just showing them what their book says. Because your book says what their book says, okay? Go ahead and read, brother.
And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion.
God shall send them what?
Strong delusion.
A strong delusion. Go ahead.
That they should believe a lie.
That they should believe a lie. Since that's what you want, that's what you get. Go ahead, brother.
That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
And they have so much pleasure in unrighteousness that they will all be damned. And every lie that comes, they're going to pick it up and run with it, okay? So now, let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy 4. And we're going to pick it up at verse 3. 2 Timothy 4 and 3. See, the Lord going to send these people a strong delusion. Oh, okay, so you like lies that much? Well, let me give you some more. Let me fill your cup up with them, since that's what you like. 2 Timothy 4 and verse 3, my brother. Go ahead and read that.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
Does it seem like we're in that time right now, y'all?
Yes, sir.
You talk to people and they hate sound doctrine. Go ahead and read.
But after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
They're going to turn their ears from the truth, and they're going to turn to the fables and the lies. Why? Because they have itching ears. They want you to tell them exactly what they want to hear. They don't want you telling them the truth. Hey, man, in my mind, I think it's like this. So can you teach me that? Okay, well, then I'll come to you. Go ahead and read, brother.
But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry.
He said, but watch in all things, brothers and sisters, and make full proof of your ministry, okay? So now, let's go into Matthew chapter 24, because we got to put Jesus right back on the witness stand and let him tell us some things and give us some information here, okay? Again, today's title is In the Last Days. Matthew chapter 24. We're going to pick it up at verse 3. Matthew 24 in verse 3. Now, this was Jesus with the disciples And they had to start asking him some questions. Matthew 24 and verse 3. 24 and 3. Go ahead and read.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
So they asked Jesus, because he went to telling them about some things about the temple. And they say, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of your coming and of the end of the world? And what did Jesus say, brother?
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
First of all, don't let anybody deceive you. That's first and foremost, because there's too much of that going on out here. People lying to you in the name of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
For many shall come in my name,
See,
saying,
a lot of people going to come in the name of Jesus. Go ahead.
I am Christ.
And they're going to acknowledge that Jesus is the Christ. Go ahead.
And shall deceive many.
And then they're going to proceed to deceive you after that. And say, well, you know, Jesus loves everybody, and all you have to do is call upon his name and you'll be saved. That's what they say. All you need is faith. Do you know that faith is belief, sir? And if you believe in Jesus, then you do everything he say do.
Right.
Like you believe when you first work at this job, that it's going to be 3 weeks before you get your paycheck. You believe you getting that check, so you roll in there every day, driving across the bridge, fighting the traffic, because you believe and you have faith that the people are going to pay you. So your faith and your belief drives action. How can you say I believe but you do nothing? You lying to yourself and you're lying to anybody that hear you say that. If you believe, it will show in your behavior, just like the examples that Abraham gave us and everybody else in this book. And you see it every day in everyday life with people. Your belief make you do things, and it prevents you from doing things. Okay? What verse, brother?
That was the end of the 5.
Go ahead.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
That's all we hear nowadays, don't we? Turn on the news. War here, war there. Go ahead, brother.
See that ye be not troubled.
For
all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Go ahead.
For nation shall rise against nation,
yes,
and kingdom against kingdom.
Yep.
And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places.
And so we're starting to see all these things right here. Famines, pestilences, earthquakes in divers places. I know the people in Oakland want to say they have pestilence going on there. Didn't they have a meeting last night? But we ain't talking that. We talking far worse than that, okay? What verse was that, brother? That was the end of 7?
Yes, sir.
Skip down to verse 11 and continue.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
He said, many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. And they are here. The false prophets have shown up. They have arrived, and they're deceiving many people by telling them there's absolutely nothing you have to do but 2 things. Come in here every Sunday and give me all your money. Huh? Don't they do that? What else do they tell you have to do? Nothing. Show up every Sunday and give me all your money. But hold on, brother. You said we don't have to keep any law, but you got us keeping a Sunday law. And we can't read that one time. And we keep a Sabbath law. We can read that all over the book. But you have something that's not in the book, and you telling the people to keep that and then to empty their pocketbooks when they show up. How about that? Y'all been in these churches, you know I ain't lying. How many times they passed them trays in there? Huh? 2, 3, 4, 7. Don't let them have a guest speaker from somewhere.
He got to eat too.
They're going to keep passing that tray on you. But anyway, go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound,
because sin is abounding, go ahead, brother.
The love of many shall wax cold.
The love of many shall wax cold. There'll be no commandment keeping, and then the love of people just gonna wax cold. Nobody's gonna help anybody, and then when you try to help somebody, they don't want to help. I've tried to help people, and they just refuse to help. Just straight, flat out clowned me. And I've told the story, a lady her car was stuck in the snow. over there in Dalton, Calumet City, somewhere up there by Chicago. And I remember I pulled up on her. She was in a Ford Bronco or something. And she was just sitting there spinning in that snow. And I pulled up. I say, would you like some help? And she just cussed me out. I drove off. And what made me remember is about a week before that, I'm out there in Glenwood, and her sister was at the gas station. She was pumping the gas. Now, it was about 10 below outside that night. She was pumping gas, so one of the kids jumped out the back seat on the driver's side. So she stopped pumping the gas, ran around on that other side of the car to get the baby, and the one on this side jumped out. So by the time she put this back in, she had to run and chase that one. Now, by this time, I'm watching the whole thing. I'm pumping. So when I finished, I said, would you like for me to pump while you grab the baby? And she went off on me. Y'all see that? You can't even help people nowadays because they think you up to something. Because iniquity has just come over everything. People think you gonna hurt them, you see, or run some kind of game on them. But that's where we are now. Go ahead and read, brother.
But he that shall endure unto the end,
yes, sir,
the same shall be saved.
Go ahead.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations.
Do y'all see how fast the gospel is going out now with the internet and these social platforms and all that? It's going out there where nobody will be with excuse.
Right.
Everybody has an opportunity to hear this thing now. But go ahead and read, brother.
And then shall the end come.
Then shall the end come. Go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
Spoken of by who?
Daniel the prophet.
Now Jesus is telling you should have read Daniel the prophet. Go ahead and read.
Stand in the holy place.
Yes.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Go ahead, brother.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
He said, if you in Judea, do what?
Flee.
Flee into the mountains. Go ahead and read.
Let him which is on the housetop not come down and take anything out of his house.
Because what should that person be doing?
Fleeing.
Fleeing. He said, if you on the housetop and you hear about this event, get down and run. Go ahead and read, brother.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
So we're talking about a sense of urgency here, sisters and brothers, when this event happens. He's saying, get to the place. Go ahead and read.
And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Go ahead.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
There was some instructions in that verse. So every time somebody asks about that, like, well, what's going to be going on in the wintertime and on the Sabbath day? I said, well, did you miss the instructions? He said, pray that you don't have to flee during these times. So you can do that right now. How about that? Go ahead and read, brother.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. So
Jesus told you to read Daniel, right? So let's go read what Daniel said. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2. Jesus said he didn't even explain to you what the abomination of desolations was. He just said you should have read it. And if you did read it, let him understand it. So let's go and see what Daniel said about these last days, my brother. Daniel chapter 2, and let's pick it up at verse 27. Today's title is The Last Days. And I mean, it's going to creep up on people because they didn't get their house in order. They didn't learn what thus said the Lord, and they've been listening to lies and fables. Daniel chapter 2, brother, pick it up at 27. 2 and 27. Go ahead and read it.
Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king? So
Nebuchadnezzar had this dream. Nobody could tell him what the dream meant. So, of course, he went to the captains and asked Daniel. So go ahead and read, brother.
But there is a God in heaven that revealed the secrets.
Yes, sir.
And maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days.
What shall be when?
In the latter days.
So we getting ready to talk about the latter days, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and read.
Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these.
Till he started going into it. So skip on down to verse 31 and pick it up, brother.
Thou king sawest, and behold, a great image.
He said, O king, in your dream, you saw this great image. Go ahead and read.
This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee.
Yes.
And the form thereof was terrible.
He said, and his form was terrible. And you all should have had that image of that statue as you came in. I had the ushers hand them out to you, okay? If you don't have one, raise your hand. The ushers will bring you one. Okay, so he's getting ready to explain this image to him. Go ahead and read, brother.
This image's head was of fine gold.
He said the image's head was of fine gold. Go ahead.
His breast and his arms of silver.
His breast and his arms was made of silver. Go ahead.
His belly and his thighs of brass.
His belly and his thighs were brass. Go ahead, brother.
His legs of iron. His feet, part of iron and part of clay.
So when you got down, his legs was iron, but when you got down to the feet, it was mixed with iron and it was clay. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
So now you see, say you saw this statue, right? Then this stone got cut out, but didn't no hands cut it out. And what did that stone do, brother? Go ahead.
Which smote the image upon his feet.
So it came down and hit that image right on his feet, where it was mixed with iron and clay. Go ahead and read.
That were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver.
So that whole image, the iron, the gold, the brass, the silver, and the clay, go ahead, brother.
Broken to pieces together.
Yes.
And became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors.
Mm-hmm.
And the wind carried them away.
Yes.
That no place was found for them.
Go ahead.
And the stone that smote the image.
And the stone that hit that image on the feet, go ahead, brother.
Became a great mountain.
Yes.
And filled the whole earth.
And that stone is Jesus, y'all. And I'm telling y'all right now, the time we're living in is we in those feet. The iron and the clay mixed together. But we gonna show that to you because this image not only represents countries, it represents times in history. Go ahead and read, brother.
This is a dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king.
So now Daniel say, this is a dream. Now I'm gonna break it down for you. Go ahead and read, brother.
Thou, O king, art a king of kings.
Yes.
For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory.
Yes, sir.
And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand.
Yes, sir.
And hath made thee ruler over them all.
Yes.
Thou art this head of gold.
So he told Nebuchadnezzar, you're this head of gold. He was the king of Babylon. And at this time, Babylon ruled the world. And in fact, the Gentile dynasty that we still living under today, like a lot of people, you listen to reggae, they call the whole system Babylon. Don't they? They call the whole system Babylon because it is the Babylonian Empire. Nebuchadnezzar was the first one to rule this earth like that. So he told him, you are this head of gold. Go ahead and read, brother.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee.
He said another kingdom's gonna come up inferior to you. Go ahead.
And another third kingdom of brass.
So that kingdom that was inferior to him was the Medes and the Persians, which is today the Russians and the Iranians. They rule the world next. Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, those guys. And then he said that third kingdom, which was brass, which was Alexander the Great in Greece. Go ahead and read.
Which shall bear rule over all the earth.
And Alexander the Great ruled, y'all. Go ahead and read.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
So now it said that fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, and it's represented in those iron legs. Go ahead and read, brother.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron,
yes, sir.
The kingdom shall be divided.
Yes.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
Yes, sir.
For as much thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
So what you're looking at is the European economic community right there. Okay. You got some strong nations over there, like Germany and France. Then you got those smaller, weaker ones like Croatia, Lithuania. Okay. Go ahead and read, brother.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
Yes.
But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Go ahead.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven.
Hold on. He said, in the days of these kings now, In the days of these kings, go ahead and read.
shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom
Yes, sir.
which shall never be
They say
destroyed.
the God of heaven is going to set up his kingdom. That's where you saw that stone hit those feet. Go ahead, brother.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Go ahead, brother.
For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain.
Wait a minute. The dream is what?
Certain.
He said that dream is certain. Go ahead, brother.
And the interpretation thereof sure.
And it's sure, like we read in Isaiah 55, whatever the Lord says is going to happen, it's going to happen. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and pick it up at verse 1. And then after that, we're going to have we have something from one of these encyclopedias, okay? Daniel chapter 7, let's start at verse 1. Daniel 7 and 1. Go ahead and read it, brother.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
Yes.
Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea.
He said those four winds, those four nations we just named. Go ahead and read.
And four great beasts came up from the sea.
Yes.
Diverse from one from another.
Go ahead.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
See that lion, that was Babylon with that gold. That's the golden head on the statue. Go ahead and read.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
Go ahead.
And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear.
So y'all know they call the Russian animal right now is the bear. It says, now I beheld another beast, second like to a bear. Go ahead, brother.
And it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it.
Yes.
And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh.
Now, they were represented on that statue as the breast, the chest, and the arms of silver. Go ahead and read, brother.
After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard.
Now, this is the brass belly and thighs, the Greek Empire with Alexander the Great. Go ahead and read.
Which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads.
And the reason they keep giving the Greek Empire four heads, because when Alexander the Great died, you had 5 generals. They conspired against one, and those 4 took over the nation of Greece, and they split it into 4 pieces. So that's where the 4 heads are. Go ahead and read, brother.
And dominion was given to it.
Go ahead.
After this I saw in the night visions.
Go ahead.
And behold, a fourth beast.
Yes.
Dreadful and terrible.
And that's the one you under right now, the Roman Empire. They still run it right now. Dreadful and terrible, because not only did they rule over you, they took your God from you and gave you theirs. They gave you all the fake stuff that they had to offer. Go ahead and read.
And strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth.
Yes.
It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns.
And it had 10 horns. Go ahead and read, brother.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
So now that little horn is this religious man who run the Catholic Church today. His little horn. Go ahead and read it.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots.
Now you had 3 nations that the Pope and the Roman government wiped out. These 3 nations: the Aryan Ostrogoths, the Vandals, and the Heruli. They wiped these people out, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and read.
And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Okay, so now let's go into Encyclopedia Britannica, and let's look at something on the European Union. Go ahead and read that, brother. Number 1. Go ahead.
European Union, international organization comprising 27 European countries and governing common economic, social, and security policies. Originally confined to Western Europe, the EU undertook a robust expansion into Central and Eastern Europe in the early 21st century. The EU's members are Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, and the United Kingdom.
Now read that number 2. This is also from Encyclopedia Britannica. What'd that say, brother?
On March 25th, 1957, the 6 ECSC members signed the 2 treaties of Rome that established
the treaties of what?
Rome.
The treaties of Rome. Go ahead, brother.
That established the European Atomic Energy Community, which was designed to facilitate cooperation in atomic energy development, research, and utilization. And the European Economic Community, The EEC created a common market that featured the elimination of most barriers to the movement of goods, services, capital, and labor, the prohibition of most public policies.
See, what happened is they took down all tariffs and barriers from one European nation trading to another. So there's no tariffs, no taxes, okay? Like if China try to send something in here, it gets taxed. There's tariffs, between certain nations to trade among each other. But what the European Union did, they made it where there's none. Then they come up with a currency that most of them use, the euro. A few of them decided not to, but that's what this is. Go ahead, brother.
The prohibition of most public policies or private agreements that inhibit market competition, a common agricultural policy, and a common external trade policy.
Yes.
The treaty establishing the EEC required members to eliminate or revise important national laws and regulations.
So now we talking about the Treaty of Rome here, brothers and sisters. Go ahead, brother.
In particular, it fundamentally reformed tariff and trade policy by abolishing all internal tariffs by July 1968.
Okay, so that was 50 some odd years ago. Now what they have these 10 nations over there that they came out in 2012 and said, call us the 10. We are the 10 that's out front running it. Read those, brother.
The Western European Union, the 10, are Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom.
So those are the 10 right there. Okay, so now let's go back to Daniel chapter 11. Daniel 11. And we're going to pick it up at verse 31 because Jesus said, hey, go and read Daniel. If you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in that holy place. Okay? Is what Jesus said. Whosoever read it, let him understand. He didn't even explain to you what it was. And I always use the analogy, if I say, hey, we're going to hook up on the day after the Super Bowl. You should already know what day the Super Bowl is on, so I shouldn't have to tell you what date that is. You just know it's the day after the Super Bowl. So Jesus said, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel, and then he just went on and talked, because you should have read Daniel, and you should understand it. 11 and 31, go ahead and read it.
An arm shall stand on his part.
So what's going to stand on his part?
Arms.
So we talking a military. Go ahead, brother.
And they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice. And they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
So through a military move, Papa in Rome is going to come over there to Jerusalem after they build that temple and take it over, okay? Skip down to verse 36, brother, and read it.
And the king shall do according to his will.
Who's going to do it?
The king.
See, he's going to be a king. Go ahead and read.
And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god.
Yes, sir.
And shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. And shall prosper.
And shall what?
Prosper.
Go ahead.
Till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
Go ahead, brother.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women.
So we already know who that is. When the priest don't have no woman. Go ahead, brother.
Nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all.
Now skip and hit that 45.
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his place between the seas and the glorious
Of his palace?
of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end.
Yet he's going to come to his end. Go ahead.
And none shall help him.
Because we've already read that when the Lord split them clouds, he's going to consume him with the spirit of his coming. He's going to get him and deal with him, and ain't nobody going to be able to get him out of that trouble. So now let's go to Reuters News. That number 3, my brother. Read that article real quick.
Italian foreign minister calls for formation of EU army.
Yes.
The European Union should form its own combined army that could play a role in peacekeeping and preventing conflict, Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said.
Yes.
In an interview with Italian newspaper La Stampa, Tajani said that closer European cooperation on defense was a priority for the Forza Italia party that he leads. If we want to be peacekeepers in the world, we need a European military. And this is a fundamental precondition to be able to have an effective European foreign policy, he said in an interview published on Sunday.
Because it's not going to be like you got a French military and a German military and an Italy. It's going to have they're going to be all together, one military. Okay? Now read that 4, brother. And so we talking about when they come down on Jerusalem, they're coming with force now. They're coming with the military now. And so watch this article. What's the date of that article, brother?
December 15th, 2011.
Go ahead and read all of it. It's at the top.
The Vatican wants to lay its hands on Jerusalem. The Vatican is now reiterating demands for control of religious sites in Jerusalem. Peace negotiations in the Middle East must tackle the issue of the status of the holy sites of Jerusalem. Cardinal Jean-Louis Touron, head of the Vatican's Council for Interreligious Dialogue, declared several days ago in Rome. The Vatican's former foreign minister asked to place some Israeli holy places under Vatican authority, alluding to the synagogue on Mount Zion and the Garden of Gethsemane at the foot of the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
The first site also houses what is referred to as King David's tomb. There will not be peace if the question of the holy sites is not adequately resolved.
Do y'all see that? The Vatican is sending letters over to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem, saying, if you don't give us control of them holy sites, there will be no peace between us. Go ahead, brother.
Touron said, the part of Jerusalem within the walls with the holy sites of the 3 religions is humanity's heritage. The sacred and unique character of the area must be safeguarded, and it can only be done with a special internationally guaranteed statute.
Go ahead.
The Israeli government and the Vatican are deadlocked in discussions over the status of the religious sites. Vatican officials are now reiterating their demand for control over the religious sites in the ancient and holy city founded by King David as the capital of ancient Israel and now the capital of the reestablished Jewish state.
So the stage has already been set for them to go over there in a hostile manner. Okay. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 12 and pick it up at verse 1. Daniel 12 and verse 1. So we see that the stage was set. How many years ago was that?
2011, so 13.
That was 2011, 13 years ago. Okay. Daniel 12 and 1, my brother. 12 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Yes.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
Now, so Jesus said that says it's going to be a time of trouble, right?
Yep.
Go ahead and read.
And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book.
So now, skip down to verse 4 and continue.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Go ahead.
Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other 2, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders?
Yes.
And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time.
Well, time, that's 1 year. And times is 2 more years. So now you got 3. Go ahead.
And in half,
Uh-huh.
when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished.
So now let's go back to the 7th chapter. So we see that the Great Tribulation is going to last 3.5 years, okay? 3.5 years. So now let's go Daniel 7 and pick it up at verse 17. And he's going back to those 4 beasts and even to that statue. But go ahead and read, brother. We going Daniel 7 and verse 17. Go ahead and read.
These great beasts which are 4 kings.
They're 4 nations. Go ahead.
Which shall arise out of the earth.
Yes.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
Go ahead.
Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful,
yes,
whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet.
So he said, then I would know the truth of that 4th beast, which is where we are right now under that 4th one. So we're at the end of the 4 beasts, brothers and sisters. Go ahead and read.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Go ahead.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them.
Do we see that? That same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Go ahead, brother.
Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
Go ahead.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces.
Go ahead.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
So yeah, 10 kings that shall arise. Go ahead.
And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
Go ahead.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
They've already changed times and laws. The Lord said, you go have a holy convocation on the 7th day. They said, do it on the 1st day. He said, you have the Passover, the Feast of Tabernacles, unleavened bread, Pentecost. They say Christmas, Easter, and all the
Halloween.
rest of Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, all of this stuff. They've already, then they changed the calendar from a lunar calendar to a Gregorian calendar. Go ahead and read, brother.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
What verse was that, brother?
That was the end of 25.
Read that 27.
And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
So the Lord gonna turn his kingdom over to the people that make that resurrection. Okay, so let's go into Revelation chapter 13. Again, today's lesson is titled "In the Last Days," and we are going to see by the time we get out of here that we are down in them last days. Okay, and if you got that image with the iron legs and the feet that's mixed with the miry clay, that's where we are right now. We have already passed down from the head into the chest and the arms. We've already passed the belly and the thighs. We are down through the legs. We are down in them feet right now, y'all. That's where we are. And we see that when that stone that's made without hands come down, it's going to smash those feet, not the head. We're living in the times of those feet, brothers and sisters. Okay? So those beasts that you saw, and even that statue, yeah, they represent nations, but they represent times as well. Okay? So let's go Revelation 13 and pick it up at verse 1, brother. Revelation 13 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Again, that's Greece. Go ahead.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear,
Medo-Persian, go ahead.
and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Babylon, go ahead.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Wait a minute. Who gave him the power?
The dragon.
It said it gave him his power, the seat, and the great authority was given to him by the dragon. Do we know who the dragon is? If you don't, we'll find out. Go ahead and read, brother.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
Yes, sir.
And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the
It
beast.
says all the world wondered after the beast. But before we go look at all the world wondering after the beast, let's read Revelation 12 and 9, because we need to see who this dragon is that gave this individual his power, seat, and great authority. 12 and 9, Revelation 12 and 9. Go ahead and read it.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan,
Yes.
which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
So we see that this Babylonian dynasty, they got their power, seat, and great authority from Satan the devil. Okay. So now let's go into the New World Encyclopedia, and we're going to look at the papacy. Okay. Let's read that, brother. It says all the world wondered after the beast, right? And the beast is hooked up with this man, this spiritual man, this religious head. And they're going to operate together. The beast and the spiritual head going to roll together, just like in the old days of Israel when you had the high priest and the king. They did things together. Go ahead and read that, brother. Where is it from? New World Encyclopedia?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read it.
The papacy is the office of the Pope.
Yep.
The Bishop of Rome, who is the leader of the Roman Catholic Church and head of state of Vatican City.
Y'all see that Vatican City is its own sovereign government. Go ahead and read, brother.
The Pope's ecclesiastical jurisdiction is called the Holy See,
Yes.
or Apostolic See. While the papacy has lost considerable political power in recent centuries, its prestige as a moral and spiritual authority has grown considerable.
Go ahead.
The Pope remains the sole ruler of the Catholic Church.
The soul what?
The sole ruler.
Do y'all see we say the king gonna prosper and gonna exalt himself above all that is called God? And I told y'all this, why I never forget. The last time he came over here, he was in Philly, and this one reporter tried to follow them through these doors of this building. He said, "Oh, there's nothing like having the presence of God with us." Y'all see that?
Man.
Go ahead and read, brother.
Which is not only the largest Christian denomination, but the largest organized body of any world religion.
Y'all see that? All the world wondered out. Go ahead, brother.
With over 1 billion members.
Y'all hear that number?
Wow.
1 billion. Go ahead, brother.
Accounting for approximately 1 in 6 of the world's population. No longer a primarily European faith, the majority of the Pope's flock hail from Latin America, Africa, and Asia. The papacy also controls or supervises a vast network of Catholic financial institutions, religious orders, real estate holdings, schools, monasteries, and convents, charitable organizations, museums, hospitals, retirement homes, youth organizations, and social groups.
How about that? How about that? So now let's go back to Revelation 13 and pick it up at verse 4. 1 billion followers.
That's a lot.
It's easy to follow. Just do whatever you want to do and please your flesh, and you all right. Anybody can be a part of that. Revelation 13 and 4. Go ahead and read it, brother.
And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
Do we see this, brothers and sisters? Go ahead and read.
And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
So if you didn't know what a times, and a half of times is, you know what 42 months is. 3.5 years, right? Go ahead and read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God.
Yeah.
To blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
Go ahead.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
So we already see this, brothers and sisters. He is going to prevail for a period of time. Now skip down to verse 11 and continue.
And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth,
Mhm.
and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Okay.
And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him,
Mhm.
and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast,
Yes.
whose deadly wound was healed.
Go ahead.
And he doeth great wonders,
And he did great wonders. Go ahead.
so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So he made fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. So everybody's really going to be thinking when they see this guy, like, man, this guy must be God. He can do this stuff. But the Lord have to balance the scale. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11, because the Lord is going to have two witnesses, and he's going to give them power to do some things. Because if you see only one person doing these things, then you might be thinking something's up with this guy. He may be the real deal. But the Lord has something else for that. Revelation chapter 11, let's pick it up at verse 3. 11 and 3. Go ahead and read it.
And I will give power unto my two witnesses,
Yes.
and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
So there go that 1,260 days again. That's another way to say 3.5 years. Go ahead and read, brother.
These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth.
So he said they can make fire come out of their mouth. Go ahead.
And devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must be in this manner killed.
He said, if any man gonna try to hurt them in this manner, those people will be killed by fire coming out of the mouth of those two witnesses. So the false prophet and the beast won't be the only ones wielding power around here, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
These have power to shut heaven,
Yeah.
that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will.
Y'all see the power that the Lord's witnesses are going to have in these days? He said they can make plagues come on the earth as often as they will. Go ahead and read one more verse, brother.
And when they shall have finished their testimony,
and once they get done with what their job is, go ahead.
The beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
So now let's go to Revelations 19, because we can see right here what's going to happen to the false prophet and the beast, which is going to be the civil, or should I say governmental head of Europe. So you're going to have the false prophet and this guy, the beast and the false prophet. Let's see what's going to happen to them once Jesus, the King of Kings, split the clouds and come on back. Let's see what's going to happen. 19 and verse 11. Go ahead and read it, brother.
And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Yes, sir.
And in righteousness he does judge and make war.
Go ahead.
His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns.
Yes.
And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God.
Go ahead.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of Almighty God.
So we talking Jesus here. Go ahead, brother.
And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
So we talking Jesus. So skip on down to verse 20, and let's see what else he's going to do. Go ahead, brother.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet
go ahead,
that wrought miracles before him.
So we got the beast and the false prophet was taken. Go ahead.
With which he deceived them that have received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
So the Lord, when he split the clouds, he's dropping them right in the lake of fire. They are the first ones to go in there, the beast and the false prophet. Go ahead, brother.
And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
Yes, sir. So now let's go to the 17th chapter and let's look at something else. That's something that we should really understand. Okay. Revelation 17, and let's pick it up at verse 1. 17 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
The great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's many people. Go ahead and read.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Go ahead.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast,
Yes.
full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple.
So we got to find out who this woman is, the great whore that's sitting over many people who have this cup full of blasphemy. Go ahead, brother.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls,
Yes.
having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Go ahead, brother.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great.
See, mystery. Babylon the Great, go ahead.
The mother of harlots.
The mother of harlots. Y'all know why this church is called the mother of harlots? Because they all come from her. The Lutheran church comes from the Catholic church. The evangelical church comes from there. The Seventh-day Adventists come out of there. The Jehovah's Witnesses. The Methodists. The Baptists. The Church of God in Christ. All of them come out of Mother Church. Okay? It says the mother of harlots. Go ahead and read.
And abominations of the earth.
Go ahead, brother.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
Because she's been ruining and killing and destroying the saints. Go ahead.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
Yes, sir.
And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Go ahead, brother.
And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman.
He said, I'm going to tell you the mystery of this woman. Go ahead, brother.
And of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns.
Go ahead.
The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall descend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
Go ahead.
And they that dwelt on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is.
Now check this out. Go ahead, brother.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom.
He said, now here is the mind which has wisdom. Go ahead.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
So it says, now here's some wisdom right here. Those 7 heads is 7 mountains where this woman sitting. The great whore. The mother of harlots. Which power was given to them by Satan, the devil, the dragon. So now let's go ahead and read that one. What we got right there, brother? We got the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes, sir.
That should be number 6 over there.
6. Got it.
You got it?
Is it just this? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and read that. Then we'll read 7. What that say, brother?
The 7 hills of Rome.
Yes, sir.
Group of hills on or about which the ancient city of Rome was built. The original city of Romulus was built upon Palatine Hill.
Yes.
The other hills are the Capitoline, the Quirinal, Viminal, Esquiline, Keelan, and Aventine.
So y'all see where the 7 hills are located? The 7 mountains where this woman is sitting. So yes, that's right, in Rome. So go ahead and read number 7, brother. This is out of
the
World Scope. Go ahead and read that.
Vatican City is the smallest country in the world.
Wait a minute. The city is a country? That's why when they rape the little boys, they don't get in no trouble. Because they call themselves part of that city, have their own government, and the Italian government have given them some kind of authority where you can't prosecute these guys. Even though they're over here in Baltimore, they belong to Vatican City. So you can't touch them. Go ahead and read, brother.
It serves as a spiritual and governmental center of the Roman Catholic Church.
Yes.
Vatican City covers only 109 acres about the size of an average city park.
Do y'all see that? It's the size of an average city park. Go ahead, brother.
It lies on Vatican Hill in northwestern Rome,
So it's in Rome on them 7 hills. Go ahead, brother.
just west of the Tiber River.
Yes, sir. So now let's go back to Revelation 17, and we just have 4 more spots after that. Revelation chapter 17, and let's pick it up at verse 12. 17 and 12, my brother. Go ahead and read it.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Go ahead.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
See, we read you the list of the 10 now. Go ahead and read.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them.
Yes.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
So when the Lord split those clouds, these militaries are going to try to fight Jesus, the angels, and the people that make the first resurrection. It's going to be a time where there won't be one casualty on one side, because you can't hurt spirit beings, brothers and sisters. They're going to do some damage on this planet. So now let's go back to Matthew 24, and we just have 3 more spots after that. So as you can see, we are definitely in these last days. We have moved past the golden head of Babylon. We have moved past the silver chest and arms of the Medes and the Persians. We have moved past the brass belly and thighs of the Greek Empire. We have moved past the iron legs of the Roman Empire. We are down in those feet where the iron get mixed with the clay, where the strong nations are mixed with the smaller, weaker nations over there in Europe. And we see that their euro has swamped the dollar. Okay? These people want their own military, because they're saying now, we want to get to a point where we don't want the United States dragging us into their problems, and we're going to get to a point where they out of our business, okay? It's happening, y'all. Europe is going to stand up, and we looking at it under the treaties of Rome. Matthew 24, my brother. Pick it back up at 21. Matthew 24 and 21. Go ahead and read it.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Go ahead.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
And it's like Brother Bowie say all the time, if everybody start pushing buttons for their nuclear weapons, who will be left? Because if you fire yours at me, what am I doing? I'm firing mine back. Now everybody's pushing buttons and nobody's left. So the Lord is going to have to shorten this. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
I wish them Jim Jones people would have read that verse right there.
Right.
Because he took all them people down there. Where did he take them people, to the Dominican Republic or somewhere?
Yeah, something like that.
Huh?
I think
Where?
it was Guyana.
Guyana. Come on, man. And you had a brother down there in Miami talking about Jesus Christ. He said, then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. Why is that, brother? Go ahead and read.
For there shall arise false Christs,
Yes,
and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
go ahead and read.
Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth.
So if they come to you and say, Brother Michael, you know Jesus over there in the desert, man. Let's go over there and see him. He said, go not forth. Go ahead and read, brother.
Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not.
Don't even believe he's in secret chambers. He's going to tell you why. Go ahead and read, brother.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east,
For as the lightning come out of the east,
and shineth even unto the west,
and it go all the way across the sky to the west part. Go ahead, brother.
so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
He said Jesus going to come just like that. You won't miss it.
Everybody.
Go ahead and read, brother.
For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
And we read that in Revelation 19. Go ahead, brother.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened,
Yes.
and the moon shall not give her light,
And
and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Go ahead, brother.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
I wonder what those people who saying all you got to do is call on his name, I'm wondering what they're going to be saying when they see him. They're going to probably be part of that group that's doing that more. Go ahead and read, brother.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
Yes, sir.
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Uh-huh.
Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender,
Yes.
and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh.
So that's a sign right there. So we know signs. We look at things. We see clouds in the sky. We know that possibly mean rain, right? You see flowers come up on certain trees, you know it's a certain time of year. When you see the leaves turn green, you know it's a certain time. Go ahead, brother.
So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things,
he said, when you shall see all these things that I'm telling you about, go ahead.
Know that it is near.
Know that it is near.
Even at the doors.
Even at the door. Go ahead, brother.
Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled.
So the generation that see these signs, you're going to see it all. You're going to see it all the way to the end. Go ahead and read, brother.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
I know that's right. Go ahead.
But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only.
Go ahead.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Y'all know how when the days of Noah, that water came out of nowhere. The fountains above you opened and the fountains under you opened up, and water was coming from two directions. And everybody that laughed at Noah or didn't believe him, now they probably at the boat knocking on the door. But it was too late. The Lord probably had them doors fixed if Noah wanted to open. If he had some compassion on those people, he probably couldn't open them doors. Go ahead and read, brother.
For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Marrying and giving in marriage.
Living their best lives, turning up, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's partying and drinking and doing whatever they do, right? Yep. But then all of a sudden, go ahead, brother.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
So they were doing all that stuff until Noah went into that ark. Go ahead, brother.
And knew not until the flood came. And took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
He said the coming of the Lord is going to be just like that. People are going to be doing their thing, having their little pride parades, and doing everything, cooking, grilling, partying, and whatever you do. Then all of a sudden, like the lightning come out of the east and go to the west, you're going to see the Lord split them clouds. And all the tribes of the earth going to mourn. No, don't put the pork chop sandwich down now, sir. Go on, keep it. It's too late. 1 Thessalonians 5. We just have two more places after this. 1 Thessalonians. No, it's too late now. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Let's pick it up at verse 1. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. Because the book say, and Jesus said, all the tribes of the earth going to mourn. Go ahead and read, brother.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Yes, sir.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Yes, sir.
As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Go ahead.
But you, brethren, are not in darkness.
So Paul saying to the people in Thessalonica, but you, brethren, are not in darkness. This day should not come upon you like a thief in the night. Go ahead and read.
That day should overtake you as a thief.
Why is that, brother?
You are all children of light.
Yes.
And the children of the day.
Yes.
We are not of the night nor of darkness.
He said, hey, because you are children of the light and children of the day. That means you have some knowledge and some information. You have this knowledge and understanding. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, let us not sleep as do others.
He says, so let us not underestimate the Lord God as other people do. Go ahead.
But let us watch and be sober.
He said, let us watch and be sober. And when he's talking about being sober, he's saying, don't drink. He's just saying, keep your eyes open from having some understanding and some knowledge and some wisdom. You looking at it like that. Go ahead and read, brother.
For they that sleep, sleep in the night.
Yeah.
and they that be drunken are drunken in the night.
Go ahead.
But let us who are of the day be sober,
Yes.
putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation.
Mm-hmm.
For God had not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation
Yes.
by our Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir. So let's stay sober. Let's go Revelation 16. Keep your eyes on. Pray and watch. Pray and watch. Watch and pray and watch. Okay? Do that. Because you do not want that day to come up on you and you're not ready. It'll be like those virgins that didn't have the oil for their lamps. See, can you hold up for a second? Let me run get some oil since you won't let me use any of yours. Because when they went to the oven, they were like, nah, you got to have your own. I'm going to run and get some real quick. By the time you come back, the door closed. You might as well get your house in order right now. That's all we can say. Revelation 16 and 15. One verse, brother. What did it say?
Behold, I come as a thief.
Yes.
Blessed is he that watches.
Y'all see that? The Lord is talking these red letters. He say, behold, I'm coming as a thief now. Blessed is the one that watch. And what else, brother?
And keepeth his garments.
And obey his commandments. That's how you keep your garments clean. You do what the Lord is telling you to do. Go ahead, brother.
Lest he walk naked.
Lest he walk naked.
And they see his shame.
And they see your shame. So now let's go to our last place, the 14th chapter of Revelation. We'll pick it up at verse 6. The Lord himself said, blessed is the one that keep them garments clean. Okay. One is watching. Revelations 14 and verse 6. Go ahead and read it, brother.
And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth.
Yes.
And to every nation and kindred and tongue and people.
Go ahead.
Saying with a loud voice, fear God.
Yes.
And give glory to him. For the hour of his judgment is come.
Y'all see that fear God is all over this Bible. That's really the main ingredient that people are lacking now. There's no fear. First thing the angel said, fear God and give glory to him. Go ahead and read, brother.
For the hour of his judgment is come.
Yeah.
And worship him that made heaven and earth
and
the sea and the fountains of waters.
Go ahead.
And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen.
Yes.
It's fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink out of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
See, Babylon is that whole statue. From the Babylonian king all the way down to the Roman Empire and their treaties of Rome and these 10 nations that's standing out in front of them. All the way down, it says that great city is fallen because she made all the nations drink of the wrath of her fornication. And the fornication is she giving you all these other false gods. And the Lord said he is a jealous God. And he don't want you serving no other gods. And that's what she has given you. All those other gods. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand.
So if you receive the mark of the beast in your forehand or in your forehead, go ahead and read.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture.
So it says, if you do take that mark of the beast, which people are going to take it, it says, you shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. And then it says it's poured out without mixture. That's the wrath of an almighty God that's undiluted. Undiluted now. Go ahead and read.
Into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels.
Yes, sir.
And in the presence of the Lamb.
Go ahead.
And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever.
Yeah.
And they have no rest day nor night.
So do we see what this lake of fire is about, brothers and sisters? It's everlasting punishment and misery. That's what's there now. It says forever and ever, no rest day nor night. Like there's no relief from the misery and the torture. Go ahead, brother.
And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
Go ahead.
Here is the patience of the saints.
Mm-hmm.
Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus.
Go ahead, brother.
And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me,
Mm-hmm.
Right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord
He
from
said,
henceforth.
Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Go ahead.
Yeah, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors,
Yes.
and their works do follow them.
Because your works are going to follow you. So for those that say you don't have to have works, the Bible says otherwise. But this torment and no rest from the torment, that is the thing that we should be trying to avoid. Okay? So if getting that crown ain't your thing, avoiding that trouble should be. How about that? I hope somebody was edified with today's lesson. I thank you for your time.